Nintendo's secondary characters seem to have it rough lately. After a year of success with Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey, who knows when we'll see fully fleshed out games from some of their lower tier franchises. This season on Does It Hold Up, we decided to take a look at games starring our favorite fat motorcycle riding asshole, Wario. Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3 is the first game to put Wario into the leading role. While he first appeared in Super Mario Land 2 as the game's main antagonist, this is the first time he was a playable character. In this platforming adventure for the original Game Boy, we see this money-hungry piece of shit steal as much as possible just to benefit himself. Is this just a Mario clone, or is this game a unique spin on the formula? Wario was first created during the development of Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. The team wanted to do something different with Mario. Instead of fighting to save someone else, they wanted him to fight back to win something of his own. In Super Mario Land 2, Wario takes over Mario's castle while he is busy saving the princess, and hypnotizes the citizens of Mario Land. Mario then has to fight his way back to Wario and defeat him. Wario's name comes from the Japanese word warui, which translates to bad. This pretty much sums him up, the bad version of Mario. Official Nintendo lore states that Wario was a childhood rival to Mario and Luigi, who became jealous of their success. While Wario appeared in other Nintendo-related materials like comics and magazines, his second appearance was in the Japanese-only game Mario and Wario for the Super Famicom. The game is a puzzle platformer and was developed by Game Freak, who are now known for the Pokemon series. Mario and Wario was one of the few games to utilize the Super Nintendo mouse accessory. With the first two Super Mario Land games being critical and commercial successes, naturally a third game was put into production. Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3 was released in 1994 and became another success for Nintendo. While not selling as well as its predecessors, it still sold over 5 million copies, and critics called it one of the best Mario spin-offs to date. Following the success of the game, 3 more sequels were produced for the Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advanced. They all received significant amounts of critical praise. Another game that was produced soon after Wario Land was Virtual Boy Wario Land for the Virtual Boy. The Virtual Boy is a VR headset released in 1995, and it used a parallax effect to create the illusion of 3D. The game is very similar to Wario Land, but features some 3D elements such as items flying near the player. While the ability to go in and out of the background was a cool feature, the game received mixed reviews and little sales due to the failure of the Virtual Boy. The last game to be released bearing the Wario Land name was Wario Land Shake It for the Wii in 2008. It was developed by Goodfeel and featured prominent motion controls due to the fact that it was on the Wii. After losing to Mario in Super Mario Land 2, Wario decides he needs to get a castle of his own. He creates a plan to go to Kitchen Island and steal a golden statue of Princess Toadstool from Captain Syrup and the Brown Sugar Pirates, which he will then sell back to Mario. After fighting his way through the Syrup Castle, he finally reaches Captain Syrup, a female pirate who summons a genie. Once that genie is defeated, she destroys the castle as she escapes, revealing the golden statue. However, before Wario is able to retrieve it, Mario flies in with a helicopter and takes the statue, leaving Wario with nothing. Being a Game Boy game, the graphics aren't bad. Wario's got a big and detailed sprite which looks very good, and the world map is another standout as well. It features a big focus on pirate themes, which is a welcome change of pace from the Mushroom Kingdom. The music on the other hand doesn't really stand out as much. Sure, it gets the job done, but it's really just there most of the time. The sound effects are nothing to write home about, but they do get annoying at times because they're so f***ing loud. When using any of Wario's transformations, the music is drowned out by an obnoxious sound effect. If you've played a Mario game before, then you pretty much understand the basics of what's going on here, but there are a few differences that make this game unique. Wario can jump on or knock over enemies, which will allow them to be thrown at other enemies. However, the main power-up of this game is called a Power Pot, that can transform Wario into one of 3 things. Bull Wario not only allows him to destroy enemies and blocks much easier than before, but to perform a butt stomp which stuns nearby enemies and obliterates the blocks below him. Dragon Wario can spew fire from his helmet, destroying enemies. Lastly, Jet Wario has a jetpack which he can use to glide short distances. This is the power-up we found the most useful, as it allows Wario to walk faster and jump higher. The most important thing to get in this game are the coins. Unlike the Mario games where the coins aren't used for anything other than collecting lives, Wario can spend his stolen coins to activate checkpoints throughout levels, as well as opening level exits. If Wario dies, he will lose all of the coins collected in that level, in addition to 1 life. At the end of each level, you can choose to either save your coins, gamble them away in hopes of earning more coins, or spend them to try and earn a heart piece. Wario earns heart points for every enemy he defeats, and can collect heart pieces to gain 10 points. Once you collect 100, you get an extra life. Certain levels also contain secret treasures that can be quite tedious to obtain. You must find a key and carry it to the treasure room. After getting the treasure, you just have to beat the rest of the level. The hardest thing about this is carrying the key, as you can't use any of the helmets while doing so. If interested in getting one of the game's better endings, then finding the treasures is important, because they can be sold for a high amount of coins. At the end of the game, after Mario steals the statue, Wario summons the genie he battled and wishes for his own castle. However, the genie states that he needs money to make this happen. The size of the castle that is built by the genie will change depending on how many coins you've collected along your journey. This starts as a tiny birdhouse and works its way up to a castle. If the player collects the maximum amount of coins allowed, then the genie will give Wario an entire planet with his face on it. While all of these mechanics may seem like fun, it's not enough to sustain this game to its end. There's a total of 40 courses in the game, and it stops being engaging long before you reach that point. After you reach that point, the courses and situations you're being put in all seem to be the same. The game can be completed in some time between 2 and 3 hours, but the platforming and power-ups overstayed their welcome long before. Wario Land is a great game, at first. When you go into it thinking it's just going to be another Mario game, it's a pleasant surprise. However, the main concern with this game is that it just becomes dull at a certain point. You can master everything the game will throw at you, and then still have another 20 courses ahead of you to complete. This is simply just not fun, and left us frustrated at what could have been if the gameplay continued to evolve. Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3, does not hold up, and should be skipped for a more well-designed platformer.